Regina, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, estes nostra salve.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. As Jesus was passing through a field of grain on the Sabbath, his disciples began to make a path while picking heads of grain. At this, the Pharisees said to him, "Look, why are they doing what is unlawful on the Sabbath?" He said to them, "Have you never read what David did when he was in need and he and his companions were hungry? How he went into the house of God when Abiathar was high priest, and ate the bread of offering that only the priests could lawfully eat, and shared it with his companions. Then he said to them, 'The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. That is why the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath.'" The Gospel of the Lord. Way back when, my first assignment as a pastor was to All Saints Parish in Lancaster and the mission of St. Agnes in Jefferson. The church stands about a quarter of a mile away from Santa's village, so I had the dubious distinction of also being the pastor of Santa. There is a chapel also in Santa's village, by the way, a Catholic chapel. So St. Agnes is kind of a treasured saint to me. And when I had difficulties in making decisions in the parish, I would always go to that little mission church. It's all naturally finished wainscoting inside, even in the roof. Back then it was open during the day. I suspect it may still be. If you're driving on Route 2, you could stop in. Nice little church. Anyways, I always have a fondness for St. Agnes, and a young girl of 12 years old, heroic virtue, absolutely heroic virtue. And she's the only child mentioned in the Eucharistic prayers of the Mass among the saints, if you can believe that. She vowed herself to virginity to Christ. And the son of the prefect at the time wanted her, but she refused. And because she refused and he couldn't have her, he accused her of being a Christian. And there was plenty of evidence against her. And so the prefect demanded that she offer sacrifice to appease the gods. And he also promised her wealth and position if she would agree to be with his son. Of course, Agnes refused because, in a sense, she had already been espoused to Christ and considered herself into a type of marriage. And so, when threatened with torture, she was unyielding. And as an insult to her faith and her virginity, which she treasured, imagine that in today's culture, he sentenced her to do time in a house of prostitution and made it known in the town that anyone could have her if they desired, and the prefect would take care of any fees involved with that. And so the first man who crossed the door of the threshold to approach her was immediately struck by lightning and blinded. I guess that settled the issue about anybody else coming. However, through her prayers, he later experienced healing. She died, she was tortured horribly, and she finally was executed. And I guess I'm left with the question for all of us. Maybe it's an interesting question as we prepare also to send some of our young people on the March for Life on Thursday morning. Is there enough evidence to convict each of us of being a Christian and morally upright? Is there enough evidence to convict you?
Regina Celi, letare